Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to a new video on the channel. And today guys, here we are to continue my AFL 2023 3-game match reviews. In today's video we're going to be reviewing the middle 3 games from round 19 of the 2023 AFL season. And these games were some of the games, well, one of them was one of the games of the year, and some other huge games. And those games were Brisbane vs Geelong, Port Adelaide vs Collingwood, and Fremantle vs Sydney. All these games were interesting and huge, and the first one in the Saturday twilight was Brisbane and Geelong at the Gabba. Going into this game, I thought it was going to be a very close battle, a very interesting battle, and a very high-scoring battle, but in the end we saw the complete opposite, more of a bit of a defensive game, and the Cats got brutally beaten, really. They only lost by 11 points in the end, and the margin doesn't tell the story. Brisbane 9-10-64 to Geelong 7-11-53. They should have lost this game by way more, Geelong. They had, a goal midway through, 1 goal 8, a little over midway through the third quarter. And look, Brisbane, they just were rocking and rolling. They started off the game really well. Not much more to say than that. And then Geelong just tried the impossible comeback, and in the end fell 11 points short. They kicked 4 goals to 2 in the final term, and they just looked a little bit better later on after everybody was missing early. Nobody had kicking boots on whatsoever after half-time, though the Lions did straighten up, kicking 5 goals too, and the Cats were better after three-quarter time as well. They had 1 goal 8 at one stage, and they managed to finish off with 7 goals 11. Player stats now, AFL Fantasy, 116 for Stewart, who was again such a huge player back there for him. 112 for Dunkley, 108 for Archie, 105 for Kadeen Coleman and Neil as well. Goals behind, 3 goals for Cameron, 2 for Danaher and Hipwood and McCarthy in Dangerfield. Disposals, 27 for Dunkley, 26 for McCluggage, 25 for Neil and Stewart. Marks now 9 for Archie, Duncan, Stewart and Smith. Go to tackles, 8 for Dunkley and Tanner Bruin. Hit-outs now, 33 for McInerney, 31 for Stanley, 10 for Blitzarves and 7 for Hawkins. Team stats now is the Lions that went inside 50, only 6 more times in the end. Both sides had their chances, but again, just couldn't quite kick very straight. And then, what else have we got? Clearances. This is where they were brutally beaten, Geelong. They got absolutely brutally beaten out of the centre. 49-22 clearances in favour of Brisbane. 10-5 centre clearances and 39-17 stoppage clearances. You don't often see a very good team that have a good midfield like Geelong get beaten by this much in this area of the game. This is just shocking, 39-7 stoppage clearances and 10-5 centre clearances. You don't see that very often, especially against a very good Geelong midfield, which most have thought has only gotten better with their additions through the off-season. And they won contested possessions and uncontested footy, did the Lions. But yeah, marks inside 50. The Cats did win that by +3. It looked like a hard game to get your marks inside 50 though. And then, the Lions did lead for pretty much, for the whole game. And they laid more tackles inside 50 as well. But a very interesting contest, and in the end the Lions win by 11. Now to the first of 2 Saturday night games. The first one at the Adelaide Oval, the first one being the better game, and the first one being a huge game between Port Adelaide and Collingwood at the Adelaide Oval. And it is another Collingwood miracle. It is another Collingwood close win by 2 points. Port Adelaide have been the kings of close games this year, but Collingwood just reminding them, look who does it just the best, and it's Collingwood. They're the best team in the competition by far now. Brisbane are closing in on this second spot, which Port Adelaide currently hold on to only a little bit. They had a clean grasp on a couple of weeks ago, not anymore. Brisbane are coming hard in their next couple of weeks compared to Port Adelaide's. Port Adelaide got the showdown, Geelong, GWS to come, and then Brisbane, they've got the Q Clash and a couple of other easier games, including Adelaide in there at the Gabba as well. So they don't have 2 hard games. Port Adelaide do have a very tough next couple of weeks coming up, especially that showdown and the trip to Geelong. But Collingwood won by 2 points. Port Adelaide 12-11-83 to Collingwood 13-7-85. And Port Adelaide did lead the game for most of the match, but no lead is safe when it comes to Collingwood. They are very good in the last quarter. They came back from 28 points down on Anzac Day. We all remember that. It was what a stunning win it was by Collingwood. This time it was only 17, but just their ability they don't need a lot of time. 10 goals in a quarter last week against Fremantle. We all know how that one played out as well. They just don't need a lot of time. And look, very interesting first quarter. High scoring first term. Second quarter dried up with Collingwood limited to only 1 goal compared to Port Adelaide's 2. And across quarters 2 and 3, Port Adelaide missed some really gettable opportunities. They went from 4 goals at quarter time to have 9 goals, 9 at 3-quarter time, including 5 behinds in that third quarter. Collingwood only got the 2 goals in that third term. But then the final term, Port Adelaide kicked 3 and Collingwood kicked, 6 goals in that final term to bring it home. Player stats now, AFL Fantasy, 117 for Drew, 108 for Rosie, 106 for Houston, 105 for Butters, and 102 for the 200 game at Taylor Adams. 3 goals for Elliott, including that match-winning, or, well, not necessarily match-winning, but including that clutch goal in the pocket. 2 goals for Myercheck, Rosie, Dixon, and Power Pepper, as well as McStay. Disposals, 31 for Butters, 28 for Rosie, and Pendlebury, 26 for Sidebottom. Go to marks now, 7 for Lipinski. Tackles, 16 for Drew, who, that's a huge number, 16 tackles. 8 for Houston, 7 for Power Pepper. Hit-outs, 45 for Cameron, 21 for Lysette, 12 for Cox, 11 for Dixon, 2 for Finlayson. Team stats now. Port Adelaide won the inside 50s, 57 to 44. So not very often that you see Collingwood getting limited to 44 inside 50s, but it does just go to show they don't need to go inside 50 a whole heap of times to actually score when they go inside 50. They don't need all these entries. They seem to be picture perfect when they go in for the chances they get. They also won all aspects of clearances, 11 to 15 centre and 35 to 39 stoppage. They won contested footy, but Port Adelaide won the uncontested footy. Port Adelaide won marks inside 50 as well, 10 to 8. And Port Adelaide did lead for 3/4 of the game and did out-tackle Collingwood, but in the end, look, Collingwood, they know how to be clutch, they know how to come back, and huge win here for Collingwood, and this will probably solidify the minor premiership and top spot for them. Alright, and now to the second Saturday night game in Perth between Fremantle and Sydney, and this was literally an elimination final, and the loser, well, would probably be eliminated from this year's final race, and well, Fremantle now, it probably looks like bottom 4 could potentially be theirs as well after another really disappointing showing. But yeah, they're not going to make finals now. Sydney's still a slight chance, and I mean, they've got a very interesting run home here, the Swans. It'll be very interesting. They've got a couple of, like, that Giants game is probably going to be, that could very well sum up their season. I reckon that Sydney derby against the Giants, that one's going to be huge in a couple of weeks' time. But it's the Swans by 29 in this one, though. 16-9, 105 Sydney to Fremantle, 12-4, 76. And look, another really bad first quarter just set the mood, set the scene, set the story for this Saturday night affair. 2 goals to 1 in that first term, and yeah, it wasn't good enough. They got the first goal of the game. Fremantle conceded the next 6 and then got 1 back late in the quarter. In the second quarter, it was 3 goals to 4, so Sydney winning that quarter again. 3 goals more in that third term for the Swans. Fremantle did actually get 4 that term, though. And the final term, 3 goals apiece. Sees a very comfortable Sydney win in the end by 29 points. AFL Fantasy, 127 for Parker, 102 for Sarong, 101 for Schultz and O'Meara. Goals behinds, 4 goals for Schultz, 3 for Franklin, who played a really good game, 3 for Hayward, 2 for McDonald, Walters, Heaney, Mills, Papley. Disposals now, 32 for Sarong, 31 for Parker, 26 for Brayshaw, O'Meara, 23 for Henry, Ryan, Young, and Lloyd. We go to marks now. Where's marks? There it is. 10 for Campbell, 8 for Ryan, Lloyd, Mills. Tackles, 9 for Parker, 8 for O'Meara and Rowbottom. Hit-outs, 43 for Jackson, 19 for McLean, 11 for Amadi, 5 for Tracy, 1 for McDonald. Team stats now, and it was Fremantle surprisingly went inside 50 more times than the Swans, 50 to 45. But again, though, Swans better when they were going inside 50. Clearances, Sydney won all aspects of that as well. They won contested footy despite the Dockers winning uncontested footy. Marks, Sydney won that. They won marks inside 50 and contested marks. They led for pretty much the whole game, did Sydney, and really just from the get-go, as we can see here, had a pretty comfortable lead the whole way through. Really good win here, keeps their season alive. So now our attention turns to the Sunday games. Huge games. These ones are for sure. It is going to be GWS and Gold Coast, which is going to be a huge game. The Giants can leap into the 8s, shall they win this game, which most expect them they should, but Their record at Manuka Oval is not great, and the Suns, their season's on the line, which takes us perfectly, ties into the next game as well. Melbourne Adelaide, the Sunday Channel 7 game, and again, probably another little eliminator here for Adelaide. They need a win otherwise, because both Adelaide and Gold Coast do have relatively tough draws on the run home, including Gold Coast have Sydney at the SCG and Brisbane at Heritage Bank Stadium. Adelaide, they've still got Brisbane at the Gabba and Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval, as well as this game, this Melbourne one. So, Gold Coast and Adelaide tying very similar here. They've both got season-defining games. And then St Kilda and North, well, this one's going to be a season-definer for St Kilda as well. They just haven't been great, St Kilda, in the last few weeks, like last, 9 weeks or whatever it's been. They need to get a win. This is their best opportunity here to just tell everyone they're back, because they need to. And they need to do it against North Melbourne. So now we go to the ladder now, and Port Adelaide again, Collingwood have comfortably, locked away that top spot now. They're up by 8 points, 2 games clear, and tons of percentage clear as well. And then Port Adelaide are in second at the moment, and again, that spot's up for grabs now. They're just selling off the spot pretty much, because now it's Brisbane. Brisbane can take it, and they've got a very winnable next couple of games. They can easily take that spot. How good would have it been to have seen these two clash again? Port Adelaide and Brisbane, but they'll probably end up meeting in finals. And then Melbourne are in fourth, and look, they need to do the job against Adelaide, otherwise it just allows a little bit of a sneaky chance here for this following pack, just to have a crack at fourth spot. So Melbourne win today, and I think they'll probably comfortably have that spot have that spot as theirs. And then, it's down to the chasing pack now. I've got Carlton and Richmond and Geelong all on 38 points. With only percentage being the factor between them all. The Giants, the Giants and Saints, you'd be thinking will jump back in. So then they'll both go to 40. So they'll go probably, if the Saints get some percentage, 5th. But they'll probably go 6th, 7th or 5th. So it'll be 5th, 6th, 7th occupied by, I believe, Dogs, Saints, Giants. No particular order though. Then the Bombers, that loss and percentage loss in the past couple of weeks is huge. Sydney move up into 12th, and as I said, Adelaide and Gold Coast have huge games as well. Adelaide and Gold Coast desperately need these wins. Fremantle are done now. They're in 15th. They're not going to make it. Hawthorn, they're still going to try and get some scalps throughout the rest of the year. And then there's North Melbourne and West Coast 17th and 18th. Alright, so thank you guys so much for watching. Please do make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you guys never miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys so much. And bye everyone. Flame Footy out.